NHL best bets for Wednesday, April the 8th. Welcome into PuckTime, WagerTalk TV. Just Carmine and I today here. Andrew McInnis, Carmine Bianco, and all kinds of you in the chat. Look forward to breaking down a handful of games. Carmine will present the slate to us here as he usually does. But guys, before we get into it, a couple things worth mentioning. The first thing I will mention, and it's been a long time since I've done this, man, oh man, we're coming off a tough one last night. And I got a comment here from Free Thinker. I'll put him up on the stage here. At least we didn't lose the Ducks team total by the hook. 12-0 run for me. We lose a tough one with the San Jose team total over 2 days ago. And then last night, the Anaheim Ducks running into a hot goaltender would probably be putting it lightly. I knew going into the play that he had been playing great. And here it is, the famous deserve to win meter that handicappers love using when they lose a play. Look at this percentage, 73% for the Ducks. And it gets even worse when you look at this right now, when you've got 4.98 expected goals. And they lose 5-0. So, guys, when it rains, it pours. And 12-0 run for me moves to 12-2 now. We'll try and keep it going. We will be back in action. And, Annunen stole the show. The second thing I want to mention, big play going in MLB today. And a lot of early games, as always, on the Wednesday slate. And we do, of course, have a promo code for you guys. MLB Best Bet of the Day. 8-2 run on MLB Best Bets plus 25 units, $10 off with promo code PuckTime10. Carm, how about those Habs, brother? How about those Habs? How you doing, man?
The Habs are dead to me, man. You guys were supposed to win in regulation. You want to rent? That's your rent. Come on, Florida. It wasn't the best game from Dubas as well, too. But Montreal gets the job done. They win it in overtime. I had them in regulation, unfortunately. But I love to see you rant, Andrew. And can you put that deserve to win meter on there again? I'm going to use that in a different context.
Okay.
So apparently it was pointed out to me that I guess that there's some comments on yesterday's video that I like Brian better than I do Don Buster. I think 73.8% of you say I like Brian. 26.2% say I like Buster. I like them both. Buster's like the friend you hang out with all the time that you can bust each other's chops. It's kind of like when the Prez is on the show. We talk on the phone a lot. We'll meet up, grab a bite to eat, and we just bust each other's chops. So you guys don't see that part of it. You only see what you see on air. So you think that there is some rivalry or dislike or what have you. No, Buster's coming up in a couple of weeks' time. I'll be getting together with him. We go and grab a bite to eat, a few beers. I remember the one time I invited him up for a full weekend of like a meet and greet thing. And the man killed. He loves Andrew. He loves MGD beer, Miller Genuine Draft. He killed, I think the bar told me they brought in 4 cases, and I think all 4 cases over the 2 days were gone. 48, what was that? The math doesn't check out. 96 beers. I think Buster, because nobody else orders MGD. I didn't even know they still make that stuff. 96 beers. Don Buster, God love him. Him and I are good friends. So take everything that we do on this show with a grain of salt, just like when I make fun of Andrew and say that, if Montreal and the Sabres meet in the first round or the second round of the playoffs, that the Sabres will win in 3 games, even though it's a 7-game series. So I did that during the bubble. Remember, Andrew? I kept making fun of Montreal, and they made it all the way to the Stanley Cup.
Yeah.
So maybe that is the key to you guys winning or what have you. But we're going to talk Buffalo and the Rangers. We have a great race that's going on in the Atlantic. We're going to pop that up on the screen in a minute. Washington and Toronto. Caps trying to stay alive. The Leafs, who knows what the hell they're doing, man. I have no idea. Edmonton, and the Sharks. Andrew, let me tell you this. And you guys that are watching this show live or later on, you have to feel it like I do. I have no action on that game last night, but you watch the Edmonton Oilers and everything you love and hate about the Edmonton Oilers were in that game. Get a lead, give it up. Get a lead, and then give it up late, and then lose an OT. And it's just, and the game finished 6-5. And you're like, how does this continue to happen to a team that has supposed to have one of the greatest players, if not the greatest player in the NHL? I don't get it.
Highlight reel goal from Connor McDavid too. If I told you McDavid is going to score a highlight reel goal, they're going to score 5 goals. But Carm, they lost the damn game. You know, like it's like it goes to show that, you know, and you know more about football than I do. But when you look at soccer, you can have a striker take over a game. You can have a Shea Gilgeous-Alexander in basketball take over a game, a LeBron James, a Nikola Jokic. But in hockey, it's very hard for one guy to take over a game. And like McDavid could have scored 3 goals yesterday and they still would have lost. You know, it goes to show it's a team game. It's really a team game.
It is. Listen, the whole day yesterday was weird. It started fantastic for me. I had 2 4% best bets in Champions League soccer. The under in the Arsenal game, Arsenal gets a goal in like the 91st minute and wins 1-0. The game was a dead under the whole way. And I told people to take Bayern Munich in Spain against Real Madrid. Bayern Munich are the better team. And there's a lot of turmoil going on with Real Madrid. They're just not all on the same page. And Bayern could have won that by 3 or more goals if they wanted to, or if they had hit the net and a couple empty nets to go. But they got the win, and I had a perfect 2-0 day going into the NHL. But luckily, the Dallas, they scored a bunch of goals in the second and third periods, and that game went over the total, which was your pod play. And I got another pod play coming up for you guys. But, Andrew, let's talk Buffalo Sabres and the New York Rangers. We got to get going with this one. Sabres, minus 152 in this game, plus 125, Andrew, is the take back on the New York Rangers. Where are you going with this one?
Well, one thing I got to mention here when it comes to this meeting is the fact that this Rangers team is quietly playing some of their best hockey of the season. And we talk a lot about how sometimes these teams, as crappy as the way it works out, Carm, it's almost like when all the pressure has gone away, they take that big deep breath and relax, and they start playing the best they've played in a long, long time. And you look across all the players, all the top guys, the secondary scoring pieces, this Rangers team has been able to create some excitement. And you know, it's one of those things now when there's only a handful of games left for each team, you look at it and it's just too little too late. But I'm talking 4-1 win over the Devils, 4-1 win over the Red Wings, 8 goals on the Washington Capitals. And I know it's only the Blackhawks, but a 6th spot put up on the Blackhawks there. This is a New York Rangers team that is better than what their record indicates. I'll make that very clear. And when you look at teams that are missing the playoffs this year, and I'll tell you, I was doing a show last night talking about certain teams that are making the playoffs this year that might not make the playoffs next year. And the Pittsburgh Penguins were a team that I circled because it feels like that last dance vibe. You know, you've got like Malkin, what uncertainty with the contract, Crosby, and a bunch of guys that are probably going to be due for a contract extension. The reason why I bring that up is that, you know, this Rangers team should be right back in the mix next year. You know, you look at Toronto, Florida, a lot of teams that are out of the playoffs should be right back in the mix. So just because New York is out of the playoffs does not mean they're going to just fold and bend over and play crappy hockey the rest of the way. Now, all of that being said, we know how great your Buffalo Sabres have been. They went on the best stretch in almost NHL history right now. When I look at this game, I'm looking at the over here, over 6. You know, whether you want to take a team total, whether you want to just look towards goals overall, this is a Buffalo team that I know has good goaltending. Owen Power, Rasmus Dahlin, great defenseman. But I'm impressed right now with the style of hockey the Rangers are playing. And I'll throw it back to you with this. Brian Leonard talked about this last year. I distinctly remember him talking about this. And he's not a huge totals better. And I hope Brian's listening to this. The players that are not in the playoff hunt, are they as inclined to block shots? When they're going into the corner, do they have that same sense of like, this means so much to me as it would if they were going to the playoffs, Carm? And for me, the answer is deep down in your heart, it just isn't the same. So when you have a game that involves a team playing well offensively, but they're out of the playoffs, I think the Rangers can score here, but I think the Rangers can most certainly give up some goals as well. Give me the over in this game.
Ooh, the over. I like it. I didn't see that one coming. That was like boom. I like that, Andrew. You know, it is tricky, and we're going to get to the race in the Atlantic right now. The Sabres are tied with Montreal, and we'll get to that graphic in a second. But the Sabres are tied with Montreal and Tampa Bay. But Tampa Bay leads the division, even though they have 39. Them and the Sabres both have 39 points, and the Sabres 39 regulation wins. Even though the Sabres beat them in the season series, the second tiebreaker is total wins, which is wins in regulation, wins in OT. And Tampa has one more than Buffalo. So Buffalo's going to have to finish a point ahead of Tampa, obviously, in order to get that, unless you get some weird Tampa losing twice in OT and Buffalo getting a regulation or OT win and them finishing on the same points. But we can't forget the Montreal Canadiens. Andrew, this is one in which I want to take the Buffalo Sabres, and I may do so when we get to the pod play. But they play tonight against the Rangers, and then they play tomorrow at home against Columbus, a team that is still trying to make the playoffs and are off a big win. And we're going to talk about that win against Detroit because Johnny wants us to talk about that Detroit one from yesterday. But they have two very good goalies. This is where the Sabres, I think, are different. Whether it's Alex Lyon or Ukko-Pekka Luukkonen in goal, I have confidence in either goalie being in net either tonight or tomorrow. So I have no problem with it. It is when you have a situation like the New York Islanders do with Sorokin and then Big Save Dave, who hasn't been a big save at all this season. So it's a little tough. No save Dave. But it's the fact that the Rangers are playing well right now that sometimes want to keep you off a game. It's not going to keep me off this game just because the Rangers are scoring a few more goals than they normally would at home. And it's just they're playing a loose game of hockey at the moment. The team that's happy about the way the Rangers are playing right now is the Florida Panthers. Why? Because the Florida Panthers are only 3 points out of bottom spot in the in the Eastern Conference. Andrew, 3 points back and having a better chance at a number one draft pick if the Rangers keep winning and Florida keeps losing. You know, the funny thing is the Rangers play the Florida Panthers on April 13th, the second last game of the season for both teams. And I got a feeling that game is going to be like hot potato. Here, you want the puck? Take the puck. I think you might as well bet the over in that game, Andrew. If I could advance bet that now, I would. The Rangers and Florida, two teams, one that's scoring goals, which is a surprise, the Rangers, one that's missing 11 guys in the lineup. But the game is in Florida, and we saw what Florida did to Ottawa. Even missing those players, they put a six-pack on them. So with that said, that's the 13th. I'll be on vacation, but I'll put out a pod play on that one. The hot potato game, I'm going to call that one. But I'm going to take the Sabres in this one. And let's have a look at that graphic, Andrew, of the race. So for you guys in chat or in the live chat or later on watching this video, tell us who you think is going to finish on top. This is how it stands right now. All three teams on 102 points. Massive game coming up. Montreal and Tampa Bay. The Montreal plays two home games, Tampa and Columbus. And then they're at the Islanders, who could be eliminated by that point. And then at Philadelphia, who could be fighting for a playoff spot. The Flyers are playing some great hockey at the moment. The Sabres, Rangers tonight, Columbus tomorrow, at Chicago, and then home to Dallas, who may have their seed clinched at that point as well too. And then Tampa Bay, at Montreal, at Boston, who are playing well at the moment as well too, at Detroit, who are a Jekyll and Hyde type of team, and then the New York Rangers. The last 2 games at home. Obviously, that is good for Tampa Bay. Andrew, let me ask you first, and then the chat. You tell us who you think finishes first in the Atlantic Division.
I think Tampa Bay holds on to it. I do, Carm. I think they're too good. They're too experienced down the stretch. It would be cool to see Buffalo or my Montreal Canadiens do so. But I do think Tampa Bay comes out on top. And I think when you look at that schedule, I think that when you look at Buffalo's schedule, Rangers, Columbus, Chicago, Dallas, there's a chance that Dallas is going to be resting players. So that could be advantageous for them, because we get to that point in time where there is the resting players theory right now. And one thing I will say that kind of hurts my opinion is that the Rangers, we just talked about them. I do think they're going to care. Detroit's going to care. But I just look at, and again, all of this changes on Thursday, tomorrow, when the Canadians play the Lightning. But I just look at the experience factor, the way they can win games. I think they're probably going to win it. From a betting perspective, yesterday, when you and I spoke, I believe yesterday or 2 days ago, we did this. The Habs were plus 440 to win the division. Now they're plus 340. The Lightning are plus 105. The Buffalo Sabres are plus 190. From a value perspective, do you feel like there's value in the other teams because of this number? Or is it one of those things we ask ourselves, okay, what are the books thinking here with this one? Because I'll tell everybody right now, if anybody out there wants to bet Montreal on Thursday night, you know as well as I do, Carm, they're better off taking that bet right now at plus 340 than to take the money line on the Canadians.
Yeah, I think so. I agree with you. Listen, the Habs are playing well. It wasn't their best game yesterday, and yet they still found a way to win. Right. That's the thing. It is good teams find a way to win. It's kind of like someone mentioned in the chat, Tampa always seems to find a way. And I get it. And you're right. This all changes on Thursday. If Montreal wins in regulation, let's call it, against Tampa Bay, and then leapfrogs them, they're ahead by 2 points, and the Sabres get it done tonight, those numbers all change. So you could be locked in on Montreal at like plus whatever it is, 340, and then kind of get out of the bet if you want, because if Montreal Canadiens win that game, they will drop to a much lower price, and you'll be able to get out of that as well too, especially if the Sabres were to somehow lose the game tonight. And I say somehow like it shouldn't happen, but anything can happen in the NHL. I will say it over and over again. Anything can happen. This is a season like no other. But with that said, Andrew, it is a tough one. Montreal, Tampa has no back-to-backs in any of those 4 games. The Sabres have a back-to-back in those first 2, because they play Columbus tomorrow, and Montreal has a back-to-back after they face Columbus. They will be going to New York to face the New York Islanders. So that is their back-to-back. And pretty much every single team is in a 3 games in 4 nights kind of situation as well too. It is tough because they know they're going to make the playoffs. And this is my final thought on this, Andrew, and then you can chime in. The final thought is this, is putting so much pressure on winning the number 1 seed in the division, and playing like tough playoff hockey your last 3-4 games, does it leave you gassed for the first game of the playoffs, where you get into the playoffs and they start right away on the weekend, and you got the number 1 seed and you're all happy, and but you killed yourself to get there, and then all of a sudden you face a wild card team who is playing with house money?
I think it does, absolutely. And when you look at this divisional race, there is going to be 0 teams for the most part up until probably the last game that are going to be able to rest players. I was listening to one of my Habs podcasts yesterday, and they were talking about. Can you pull that up just for a couple more seconds, Carm? They were talking about that last road trip for the Montreal Canadiens and those last 2 games at New York Islanders, at Philadelphia Flyers, and they were talking about if they end up already being locked in to a second spot or to the third spot or whatever it might be, do they send, Mike Matheson to Philadelphia? Do they send Phil Deneau to Philadelphia, to the New York Islanders game? Do they send Nick Suzuki? I probably will send their captain, but do the old guys and some of the veterans even play in those games? But the issue is that these 3 teams don't know where they fit in the puzzle piece yet. One thing I know that's interesting, and I know we got to get to the picks again, but I saw a graphic put out by the Dallas Stars, and I know people have talked about this on every hockey show possible, but it makes me laugh that it's April 8th. The playoffs start April 18th. And because Colorado got that win yesterday, Dallas puts out that graphic that it is set in stone, Dallas versus Minnesota. So, Carm, we're a week away, and they already know who their opponent's going to be, right?
Yeah. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like, and my second final point on the Montreal one, because you're talking about players and players resting, I would love to see, as far as the Montreal Canadiens go, I would love to see in either the Tampa Bay game or the Columbus game, Cole Caulfield get his 50th goal. Reason being is if the final couple games, the Islanders and maybe the Philadelphia game becomes a meaningless game and he is stuck on 49 goals, I don't want something where the guy is playing to hit the 50 mark, a milestone number in a meaningless game where you then get injured and everyone's like, why was he there? I know Marty St. Louis isn't he's not that stupid. He's not going to put his best player at risk, but score against Tampa, get it out of the way, get it out of the way. So anyways, with that said, Andrew, we got to discuss some more games.
And I got to say, I'm sick and tired of them trying to pass it to him all the time. Like St. Louis said it to the media. He goes, pretty much said, I would be lying to you guys if I did not say this has been a distraction. Yesterday, Slafkovsky had 2 or 3 chances to shoot the puck, and it would have helped you cash your bet. And he's looking for Cole Caulfield. And you can tell Caulfield is not playing the same game he was playing before. You can tell that it's on his mind, and they cannot wait to get that benchmark out of the way. It's certainly been a distraction. But anyway, Carm, as you mentioned, next game we'll talk about our favorite team to make fun of. We don't hide it. The Maple Leafs and the Washington Capitals.
Yeah. So I'm going to throw this to you. I'm going to say this, Andrew. Such an embarrassing loss for the Washington Capitals. They had been kind of rolling along, Andrew, playing well. And I think now it's too little too late for this team. They're 5 points out and possible 8 points left. Is this one of those games where you look at the over-under and it's like the Leafs have been trying in their games. They've been scoring some goals in their games. Is this one where it's just let's pad the numbers? Because I think Washington, to a man, their players aren't going to say, listen, we're done. As long as they have 1% chance, they think they have a chance to make the playoffs. But they are not leapfrogging over 4 or 5 teams when some of those teams have to play each other. So for all intents and purposes, they are eliminated from the playoffs. It's a meaningless game, but we're going to talk about it because there's only 3 games on the board. How are you playing this one?
Yeah, look, a lot of times when I look at a game where a team is coming off a really, really tough loss, I like to look towards defensive play. But remember the rule here, guys, and we're going to talk a lot about this over the next handful of shows on PuckTime. I approach things differently when a team is eliminated already from the playoffs. And Capitals, they're pretty much out the door. They're off an 8-1 loss. The urgency is going to be off the charts for this game to bounce back. This game, in a very weird way, kind of reminds me of Minnesota and Seattle yesterday. Seattle had a tough last couple games. Minnesota, some traveling and some weird spots for them. And the over 1.5 hits easily. The full game over hits easily. You notice, Carm, the under 6.5 is slightly shaded towards the under. Depends on the book you look at. Over 1.5 minus 135 is the play I've got a big circle around right now. And I think that we cannot make it any more clear how much this Capitals team throughout the season relied upon Logan Thompson. Logan Thompson, one of my favorite goaltenders to back in the league, and he's finally had a bump in the road. Carm, his numbers, last 3 games, expected goals against 2.61, actual goals against 4 goals per game. His save percentage on the season is 911. No, not the police, but that's his save percentage, 911. His actual save percentage last 3 games is 870. The guy's falling apart. Joseph Woll, this gets even worse here, guys. Last 3 games for Joseph Woll, 882. Expected goals against last 3 games, 4.43. Goals given up per game for Joseph Woll, Carm, 4.67. 1967. Last time the Leafs won the cup, 6-7, as the kids like to say. Give me the over in the first period, over 1.5 goals.
All right. I can dig that one. You know, the interesting thing is, I keep saying it. So the Leafs obviously fire their GM. They haven't had a president of hockey operations since they got rid of Brendan Shanahan as well, too. So there's no leadership up top. Craig Berube's job, probably the new guy coming in probably gets rid of him in the offseason. Does Berube even care about whether the Leafs protect their pick or not? The Leafs have to finish bottom 5 in the NHL in order to protect their first-round draft pick, or it goes to the Boston Bruins in the Carlo trade. So here is the thing. Toronto is on 78 points, along with Florida. You have the New York Rangers on 75. Rangers seem to be playing well. If they somehow pick up 4 more points. You look at the Western Conference, and you have Vancouver, who's guaranteed the worst team in the league. Chicago's right there in second. Calgary third. And then the Seattle Kraken fourth. St. Louis has 78 points. So the Leafs, in all likelihood, would have to finish last in the Eastern Conference. They have 5 games left, Andrew, the Toronto Maple Leafs do. And their 5 games start tonight with the Washington Capitals. Then they play against the New York Islanders. They're home against the Florida Panthers in another game of hot potato if they lose their first 2. And then they play Dallas and Ottawa. Go 0-5. I know it's easy to say. Sit at your desk behind a mic on YouTube and say, lose all 5. It's easy to say, but they should be doing it. And Berube should have brought up, if he could have, another goalie. To have Hill to be down there. He could have kept Nylander as a healthy scratch or come down with some mystery illness. But they're not doing it. And they're not going to have a first-round pick for the new people coming in to run this team. I don't get it with this team. They probably should lose tonight just because Washington right now, as far as the way they've been playing, have been the better team. I just think it's going to be goals tonight. So I'm going to go the way of goals tonight. And maybe the save props. The only problem is, Andrew, the goalie's getting pulled. Not to yank a Band-Aid off of a fresh wound, but actually, do you even yank a goalie when your team's not even in the playoffs? No. Leave them out there.
That's the problem. You might as well leave them out there because you're going to have to play the other goalie the next game anyway. So, it makes me laugh because it went from being in like December, January. Oh, everybody relax. We're going to make the playoffs. And now you've got fans cheering against their favorite team because they want the best draft pick possible. You know what's going to happen, right? Florida and Toronto are playing each other. And you know who's going to win? Toronto. And it's going to be the one time they want to lose that game, and they're going to win it.
It is. It is like I keep saying it, man. I'm gonna get a T-shirt made up. It is a season like no other, with the Sabres emblem. If they somehow, it snowed the other day, which tells me in April it snowed. I had to scrape ice off of my windows of the vehicle. It tells me that it is a season like no other, and that the Sabres are winning. For there still to be snow. If it snows in June, we got a problem, man. But with that said, speaking of problems, let's talk about the Oilers goaltending, Andrew, and this one. So I'm going to toss it to you first on this one. Oh, man. Another 151, 152 ish. Oh, sorry. That's the wrong graphic there. Let's get there. Where's the Oilers? There we go. The Oilers, 125 off a loss in which they allowed a zillion goals, and they play the San Jose Sharks plus 105. Total sits here at 6.5. The Sharks, Andrew, still with a chance to make it because the Anaheim Ducks are leaking oil, pun intended, with the Edmonton Oilers on the screen. 6 losses in a row for Anaheim. They're slowly dipping down. San Jose is winning games. What is happening here?
Well, this is an example of just the same Oilers team we've seen over the years. I don't know if you saw that video going around yesterday. It was a video of the trade deadline. It was the manager's room, the GMs and the assistant GMs all talking about the moves they were going to make. They thought they were going to look cool putting that video out, but they all just looked bad, and the decisions they all make. And Tristan Jarry looked bad, and it's just not a pretty sight. But Carm, the funny thing is that Connor Ingram has potentially been the better goaltender out of the Oilers goalies, and nobody really saw that coming. But I think the Oilers are worth backing here. The only thing that makes me a little bit skeptical is it's kind of a weird number. Like, I mean, I get it's a back-to-back, but yeah, this to me is kind of an Oilers spot. And then we're going to see what the Sharks are going to do tomorrow as they play the Ducks on Thursday night. But this is an Oilers bounce back spot for me here. You take a look at these numbers here from Connor Ingram. Very, very impressive. Shout out to Handy Graphs for this information. But last 3 games, 923 save percentage, goals against per game, 2.33. On the season, 894 save percentage. So right now he's in better form, and Askarov is projected to start tonight for the Sharks. And I can't believe I'm saying this because Nedeljkovic hasn't been very good either, but Askarov hasn't been that good himself. So I do think the Oilers can bounce back, and just because it's a back-to-back for them does not mean they can't win tonight. So I'm going to take them to get the job done. I will say this, though. The Sharks are having a little bit of tough time with physicality. And, I had that bet over 3.5 that lost with the Sharks game. They had a bunch of chances in the first period of their last game. But do you think that, this Sharks team can go head-to-head against a team that's angry? And I have a feeling the Oilers are going to be angry tonight.
I wouldn't care if I'm San Jose if they're angry or not. They should be angry. The way they choked it away, they should be angry. But you look at the scores between the teams this season, Andrew. They played 3 games. All of them came in this calendar year. Edmonton Oilers win 4-3 at home in OT. I think that was the game in which the San Jose got out to a 3-0 lead and then blew it. That game in Edmonton. Sharks win 5-4 at home. And then Sharks lose 5-3 in Edmonton. So we've had 7+ goals scored in all 3 games, an average of 8 goals across the 3 games scored between these 2 teams, which is why you sort of lean to the over as far as that one goes. But the Sharks are live. They've won 5 of their last 6 or 6 of the last 7. They lost to Nashville. They're right there. They're in the playoff hunt, so they're playing for something. And they get an Oilers team that, I get it. You have an Oilers team that can score goals at will, but sometimes on the second of a back-to-back, the Oilers aren't the greatest. Do I want to lay $1.25 with a team that that blew a lead and then lose an OT to Utah yesterday, even though Utah is a very good team. No, I don't. For me, it would be dog or pass in this one, or total or pass. I think those are the excuse me, the only two ways I look at it, Andrew. Maybe some loser points, as we love to call them, because the Sharks could use them. You look at again, in mentioning the standings on this one. Sharks are playing their game in hand that they have at the moment right now. They have 2 games in hand on Anaheim, who are sitting in 7th place right now. So 2 games in hand, 6 points back of them, and more regulation wins. That game against Anaheim becomes a crucial one for them, because Nashville's on 84 points, playing well. The LA Kings have a game in hand, they're on 83. So it would be Sharks and the total of the over for me, Andrew, if I was to look at this. But let me throw one more thing at you. The Anaheim Ducks, who I've loved all season long the way they play, Andrew, look at their schedule to close out. And there's maybe one saving grace. So they play at home against the Sharks, which is tomorrow. The Sharks will be on the second of a back-to-back, but Anaheim has lost 6 in a row. If they lose to the Sharks tomorrow, Andrew, their next game and final home game is against the Vancouver Canucks. And then they are in Minnesota and in Nashville, 2 teams, one fighting for positioning in home ice, which is Minnesota, and one fighting for a playoff spot. Their saving grace, Andrew, is that they play the Vancouver Canucks. But how much faith do you have in taking Anaheim if they lose tomorrow night against San Jose and are on a 7-game losing streak?
Well, this Connor McDavid called it the pillow fight going on in that division. He literally called it a pillow fight. He said that, this division has been bad. And you look at this Ducks team, they have dealt with injuries. Cutter Gauthier has been injured for a couple games now for them, and that made a big difference. But
huge.
It's crazy, man. This team was winning the division, right? They were the top place in the division. And this is why I said, and people were laughing at me when I said this, but based on how competitive the Central Division was, and those guys are going to beat each other up left and right, you could have got 13-1 on the Oilers to win the Cup like a month or 2 ago. You can still get good odds. Like, the way I sit right now, the division and the conference still runs through oil country in Edmonton. And yeah, sure, Tortorella was able to come and beat Oilers, or beat the Canucks and beat the Flames. Do I wish that I kept my streak going by just betting on the Knights? 100% I do. But I still believe the best team in that division is the Edmonton Oilers. I do.
Yeah, I think so too. I'm shocked by yesterday's game, because the Oilers seem to be picking it up and playing well, and then they threw in that clunker, and I get it. It is just it could very well just be a one-off, and like you said, the Oilers go in there tonight and cruise to a victory. San Jose was playing well, and Nashville rolled in there and scored 6 on them and beat them 6-3. That's the only loss on their ledger over the last 10 days or so, 10 to 14 days or so. So at the end of the day, it is just the interesting part of the final 4 or 5 games of the NHL season, Andrew, are making this, and the playoff pushes are making the season an exciting one, as opposed to like teams resting players, playing for nothing. We're wondering if it's going to be open ice hockey and whether there's going to be goals in it. Who cares? Who doesn't care? A lot of these teams, and the ones we're talking about, are ones that obviously care. But also at the end of the day, Andrew, it is just about making the NHL playoffs. Get in, and it is a brand new season. It's an 82 game preseason, and then the real season starts in the playoffs. Get in and win. It's kind of like you don't know. Maybe the old timers in this will know. You don't know who Rosie Ruiz is, do you? Rosie Ruiz won the Boston Marathon. She got in and she won. The only problem is she came out of like a park and ran the last 3 or 4 miles of the marathon and won. It was finally proven with like video cameras and stuff. They caught that. They're like, how is this person running this quickly in the marathon? She had her number and everything. I think she took a taxi to like one of the starting point or one of the thing points. Rosie West, she passed away from cancer in 2018, but still one of the funniest things of, I won the Boston Marathon. You only ran 4 miles of the 24 or whatever. So
Hey, Carm,
down to the wire.
It doesn't matter who you go to the dance with. It matters about who you go home with. That's all that matters. And you just have to get that ticket to the dance. And all these teams, look at the Ottawa Senators right now, man. I'll tell you what, as a Habs fan, playing the Bruins would be crazy. Playing the Senators would be crazy as well. For me and you with the show, playing the Sabres would be hilarious. But you look at some of these wild card teams, man, like you said, get in and anything can happen.
Yeah. Andrew, I'm going to throw one stat on because Ralph Michaels, the pen, the stat daddy, as we talked to him, he drops some nuggets in there. And this is not applicable to tonight's game, but it is to the game between the Canucks and the Ducks, as I mentioned previously. So this is a fade or follow stat on that Ducks and Vancouver game that I mentioned. Unrested dogs of plus 120 or higher versus rested teams. And this will apply in that Canucks and Vancouver game. If they're plus 120 or higher, they are 19 and 52, 26.8%, minus 22.5 ROI. If they're 0 and 2 rest deficit, then during the last 5 games of the NHL season. I know it's a lot to comprehend, guys. So just take a snapshot of it and read it over a few times and you'll get it. But it is interesting because the numbers do not lie. 3 and 20, 13%. So if you fade that stat or fade it the other way, you are hitting 87% of the time. And minus 54.3 ROI. If you have a minus 54.3 ROI, you should probably call that 1-800-GAMBLER number and just take up a different hobby. So I that is my public service announcement for today, Andrew.
You're telling people to call the number if you're if you're back in that. I get it. I get it.
Dude,
on that note,
have you ever seen? Yeah. No, go ahead. Sorry.
No, I was just going to say, on that note, it's time for some player props. And I always say to manage the bankroll properly when it comes to this segment. And we had a really good comment. First comment of the day was from loyal listener and viewer, Pocket Surprise. And he was talking to us about just that absolutely tough beat with my player prop last night for the prop segment because Swayman got pulled. And look, the handicap was there. The Hurricanes were going to get a ton of shots. Fortunately, he didn't really have his best game, but it's hard as hell, Carm, to cash a ticket on a goalie prop when he leaves the game. You can't really cash a ticket like that when the goalie leaves the game. So if you want my thoughts, there's no real thoughts. It's, one of the easiest ways to lose a goalie prop is him having to leave the game. So I still stand strong on this opinion, though, guys, that Carolina shoots from everywhere. Sometimes I feel like they take bad shots because they're so far away, but they shoot a lot. So goalie props on the other one. Your guy, Lorenzo, third leg, gently press the way Carmine likes it. And Los Kid says he assaulted the like button. He just smacked the crap out of that like button. All right, guys, I got one for you for today. We've got a trip to the Battle of New York, Buffalo Sabres, New York Rangers. Let's get an Alexis Lafreniere point. Let's get a Mika Zibanejad point. And let's get Jack Quinn 3 shots on goal. Guys, this should get you close to plus 300. Once again, Alexis Lafreniere 1 point, Mika Zibanejad 1 point, and Jack Quinn 3 shots on goal. This very well should get you close to that plus 300 ballpark. Jack Quinn has been doing really, really well in the shots department. He's been firing away. I believe he's gone over 2.5, 4 of his last 5 games. Good matchup for him against New York. And these two guys play on the same line. Lafreniere and Mika Zibanejad getting the job done. Guys, I don't often promote other sports on this show. Love this MLB play this afternoon. And because this is a hockey show, I got you a promo code PuckTime10. PuckTime10. If you guys want my MLB best bet, try me out. You know, I'm very much so analytical, data-driven with baseball. You guys can check me out. I'm doing baseball videos, of course, at WagerTalk as well. This goes this afternoon. WT.buzz/AM. We've earned 25 units on MLB best bets. 8-2, 80% run. PuckTime10. Do not pay regular price for this pick. Use that promo code PuckTime10. Take $10 off. $15 for my best bet of the day in MLB action. Carm, we both love hockey, but we handicap other sports as well.
Yeah, absolutely, Andrew. Guys, you got to try it. Andrew does CFL, he does NFL with props and stuff, MLB. And even if you're not a baseball fan, you got to pick it up, get some afternoon action in. Andrew's doing absolutely fine. You might not like it. It's the same way, Andrew. I don't like broccoli, but if you cover it with enough queso sauce, it's actually pretty good. But with that said, good luck on your play. Let's toss up a pod play. It is the first game of the day that we discussed, and it is the Buffalo Sabres. Yes, I'm going with the same image again because it won yesterday with the over in the Dallas game. I'm taking the Sabres minus 152, probably the highest vig of any play of the day that I have taken this season. We're at 73.08, which is 46% bankroll increase, guys. The Sabres off a 6-3 win against Tampa Bay, and off a win against Tampa Bay. And the last time they beat Tampa Bay 8-7, there was no letdown. The very next game, they beat the Sharks 6-3 in that one. Now they take on a Rangers team. The road team is 2-0 in this series this season, 3-0 after this one. I think the Sabres have put that little glitch past them where after they clinched the playoff spot, they had a couple bad games. They're back on track, and the Sabres could pretty much run the board in their last 4 games against the Rangers, Columbus, Chicago, and Dallas. But we'll start with tonight. The Buffalo Sabres minus 152 as your pod play.
The Buffalo Sabres. Homer Simpson being a homer. Oh,
insert beer.
The race
insert beer here, Andrew. That's what I'm going to be saying to the lovely ladies that at the resort that I'm staying at. Insert beer here. And
enjoy, man. Have a great time. Be safe. Enjoy yourself. Have some good food. And we'll be back next time I see you. We won't just be hyping up the playoffs. We'll be getting ready to talk playoff hockey. So cannot wait. And Carm, I haven't talked with you about this off air yet, but I know that you don't trust technology always. But if you want to record some videos for the pod and I'll put them on the show at the end. I am not doing any live videos with you from your resorts. You can send me a video and I'll put it on the screen.
I'm not even taking my laptop down. I have a smaller version of it because I still need to do my research and get my plays up. But I will tell you this. Tomorrow's show, tune in, okay, because there will be a video up. 6 and 60. I am going to give you a Thursday version of the 6 and 60. I have a pod play that I like for tomorrow, already circled. I've sent Andrew the graphic for it. I just got to get the right price on it. So my plays will continue to come all week long, and that's pretty much it, guys. The NHL games for tonight. I've given you the games I like, so I likely won't have a card tonight unless I come up with something that I like more than what I gave out on the show. But I have a 5% play going up in Champions League, or that is up in Champions League. That goes at 3 p.m. today. 2-0 yesterday in Champions League. We want to finish off with a winner. Andrew, are we done?
We are donezo. I got to get ready for more baseball, man. Baseball, my 4% starts in 3 hours.
We are done. Love you guys. hit that like button on your way out. And Andrew and Brian Leonard will see you tomorrow